Hello everyone, this is Peter and I want to welcome you to another non-Lego brick build set, and this is my second train set that has been released by Mould King. Reference number is 12026 and it has 1090 pieces and its age rating is 14 years and upwards, and it is part of the Mould King Junior range. And this one consists of the HXN3 diesel locomotive, and you do get one tank car as well as some trackside accessories that makes this train set quite fun. However, as a little suggestion to Mould King, I would love to see some additional tank wagon sets come out to extend this train set, because that would be really cool to have a fuel train running on a brick railway. So without further ado, let's jump into it and I will talk to you more at the end. And by the way, I won't be doing a test run video in this, as I do intend planning, once I've covered all of these train sets, I will just run them in a dedicated compilation of my Lego and non-Lego brick build train sets as one. So let's get started then. Let's fire up the time-lapse build. Now that's a completion of the second Mould King train set that I have covered on this channel up to yet, and to be honest, and I'm going to be quite truthful with you all on this one, right, I have mixed feelings about this set. Now the good parts is that the locomotive went together nicely, it assembled as easy as anything, so you've got your rechargeable motor truck at the bottom, complete with the USB input, so you just use the included remote control, which does need two AA batteries to function, so you just move that stick forwards and backwards for controlled throttle, as where this one is just instant, so you just push it left to go forward really fast and down to go in reverse or slow down, I think. But anyway, you've got these buttons down here, so I'm assuming these do something. I will do a follow-up video in terms of this running and all that, because I'm in the process of, I'm going to have to polish this up so this roof is more secure on board, and I will be adding lights to this later on, as I do have an AliExpress lighting set that I can fit to this headlight at the front and back, so that would look really nice. And to be honest, the locomotive, I really do like the locomotive, it really looks nice. Although it doesn't have any working headlights or anything like that compared to the Lego offerings, but I do believe Mould King do the professional trains with working lights. But I do have a steam train coming up at some point this year. You've got the included USB charging lead, so that just plugs straight in there. I would recommend using a laptop or something lower powered to charge this, because sometimes it can overload the battery, and we definitely don't want melting or molten plastic or an electrical fire risk. So just charge it from something like a laptop or a tablet or whatever has a USB port that's not connected directly to the mains. So that's what I've learned anyway. Now we're moving on to the wagon, and this is where the build starts to get quite annoying, because this had missing pieces, as you can see there, and on the underside I did not have enough roof pieces, these sloping silver pieces, to do the underside of the carriage, and I'm quite disappointed with the, quite frankly, poor planning in terms of building the trucks for the wagon to sit on, as they just use those swivel pivots for chairs and that on the Lego sets, as similar to what Lego use, as instead of just the clip-ons like you get with this one. As you know, you can pull the truck out, and you can even take this truck out. I'll just take this roof off because it's not secure and we don't want it to keep coming off and doing any potential damage. So this is your truck, and that just simply clips onto the underside of the locomotive. So you've got your 3 holes, and that just clips into there like so. So another thing is I don't like about this set is that the batteries, correction, not the batteries, what am I talking about? It's these couplers. Now these are not glued in place, and these magnets are really strong. I'm going to show you why I think Mould King should have secured these in place with a bit of glue, because when you connect this wagon up, now watch this, this is how strong these magnets really are. It just clips in there just like that, and it's just come out the socket. So not very impressive, to be honest. So I'm going to have to do something about that. I'll have to glue those into place to make sure these coupling bits don't move, but it's a very strong magnet, and a bit disappointed really. So I'm not really reviewing this set, but if I did, I definitely would take some points off it, but just bear that in mind if you go for one of these. It might be just isolated to this set that I have, but honestly, right, the magnet should not be flying out of its socket, because when the locomotive pulls away, it's got nothing to there's nothing to hold that magnet in place to pull that one forward. So yeah, in all honesty, right, I do like this set, but there's definitely room for improvement. So I'm going to try and get this to go back into its socket, which is easier said than done. In fact, the coupling on the wagon is actually higher than the locomotive, so that's going to make things a little bit harder. But if we can just get that in there, just for the benefit of this video, I'm going to start winding this in, and I'm going to be totally honest, right, folks. It's a nice set, but there's definitely room for improvement, and this is my second Mould King train set. So I'm just going to bring that so it's fully in the camera. In fact, just bear with me. I will take this off and we'll swap it around so that the bridge is in the background and not in the foreground. Then we can see the train better, can't we? So yeah, not the best set that I've built from Mould King, but definitely not the worst. Although I don't really have too many sets from Mould King yet, but just get that annoying magnet back in there, and we'll just push this back into the bridge, and we'll just start winding down this video then. Right, that's better. I'm just trying to do something so that we can have a nice thumbnail. So would I recommend it? I would recommend it if you like this kind of thing. As you know, I don't really have too many non-Lego train sets, but I like the colour. It was the nice green colour that drew my attention to this, and I like the fact that it does have a rechargeable truck, so you don't need so many batteries compared to the current Lego train sets, and you can move the lever. And you can use the app, so if you have like a tablet, Android tablet PC or something, you could just use that to control the trains through the app and the Bluetooth, because it is Bluetooth connection. And basically that means you won't need to use any batteries if you don't want to use the included handset. But anyway, like I said, right, I will do a follow-up video of just running these trains in a brick train running session. That will be planned once I get some more space, as I just don't really have any space at the moment, as I do have a lot of projects going on. And yes, once I get a new place, I will have better lighting, so thank you very much for your comments on that. I will aim to improve, but I'm working with what I have, and that's all there is to say on the matter. So that concludes this video. Just want to say big thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this one, please give it a like. This is a special for Good Friday in the run up to Easter 2026. I will have builds coming on Easter Sunday and Easter Monday, so you get a little bit extra content, but this is one of the extra videos that is non-Lego. And that, my friends, concludes this build for today. This is the Mould King World Railway Series. That this locomotive is the HXN3 diesel locomotive with one fuel tanker. So like I said at the start of the video, I would love to see Mould King produce extra wagons, and preferably use better materials for the ladders and stuff, because this ladder, I just could not get it to go onto the clips to fix it onto the side of the wagon, so I will have to improvise with something else that is more easier to fit, and we'll take it from there. Also, I did work out the bridge in the end. It wasn't an easy bridge to build, it was quite fiddly, but all in all, it's a nice set. Definitely worth it for the locomotive and the wagon. Even though I would recommend probably gluing the magnets into place so they don't keep flying out the socket like shown on this video. But that's all for now, folks, okay? As always, please click the like button. You're more than welcome to comment. I do read and respond to all comments that I receive on my content. and I will see you in the next video that will be up on Easter Sunday and then Easter Monday, as we will be crossing over to the April themed Lego City builds. And this is my second non-Lego City or non-Lego brick train set to be covered on the channel. This is Peter signing out. Have a blessed day, have a good weekend or week, and I'll see you next time.